What's up, everyone? Welcome to the What's Your Five podcast, episode 18. Yes, y'all, we are barely legal. My name is Rodell, and joining me this week is my good friend and my resident gaming co-host, Mr. JoelFrrr. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing excellent, Rodell. How you doing, man?
I am feeling very giving, as you can tell by my cool hat. Tonight's episode is actually going to be a giveaway episode, but first we want to let you guys know that the topic of this week's episode is going to be top 5 worst games of all time. Yes, best of everything, including the worst games. How do you feel about this, Joel? I know we were talking about it in the beginning of the week, and you're
right.
yeah. So.
This one was a hard list for me, to be honest. Like when I think worst, I think of obviously I think of like the usual suspects, which are like, E.T., Pac-Man, Atari, those kind of games.
Yeah.
I was like, no, but worst are actually like Barbie Dreamhouse 6 and
all the shovelware
500 and Name Your Movie Part 2, Part 2 movie. But I took a step back and I was like, this is what's your 5, not what's the 5 or what's
right.
Historically the 5. So I was like, what 5 games really were the worst to me?
That's right. Then that's where I came from too, right? I was like, I can call out so many different games, like you said, like E.T. or I don't know, like
Superman 64.
Oh god, that was terrible. But I mean, there's gonna be games in there, and I'm just like, we're gonna cause a little bit of ruckus and we're gonna cause a little bit of stir, which is exactly what I want, because for this giveaway, we are gonna actually, instead of using the King Sumo link that we've been using for the description, we are actually now going to use the comment system. So what we want to do is we want to get some feedback from all of our listeners. We want to be able to get some type of interaction with y'all, and so we want to get some Twitter announcements, we want to get some Instagram comments. We want to make sure that you guys know that we think these games are pieces of garbage, absolute garbage. And I want everybody to know that. I want everybody to tell me what their garbage games are. Let's cause a little bit of ruckus here. And so
call out our selections.
Call it out, man. Call it out.
Some of my selections are critically acclaimed. They're not immune to criticism. Well, Joel criticism.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Joel criticism for sure. But with that being said, let's go ahead and show you / tell our listeners what we are giving away this month. And I was telling everybody that, hey, this is going to be a big giveaway. Well, I definitely was not lying about that, because this boy is really big. If for you guys that are listening on the podcast, you guys are listening for a Pandora's Box dual joystick 1001 games joystick game system. So basically you plug this boy into your TV and then you have 1,000 games, all arcade games. So it's 2 players, everything's functioning normally. Giving this away for you guys just because I like to, because I have my cool Santa hat. And I definitely want everybody to realize that all the games on here, whether it be fighting or any arcade games for the most part, I think there's some PSP games on there as well. I mean, I can definitely link the list down below on the description, but also make sure that you guys like as well, and also follow us on all of our social media. Social media with TikTok, Instagram, Twitter at what's your _5. I will provide the list to you guys as far as what kind of games are on here. So that's the big giveaway. I want to make sure that you guys are willing and able to put your comments down below. And again, this is going to be going on till the end of the month. I will be announcing the winner for that. And all videos all the way up until the end of December will be eligible, as well as any type of Twitter responses, any type of Instagram responses, any of our social media will also get you a entry to be able to win this big bad boy right here. So free shipping to y'all, because I love you. And so yeah, that's pretty much the big giveaway. So I mean, hopefully you guys will be able to listen. And so I mean, that's pretty much what we went down. That's my giveaway for this month of December. So all right, so with that out of the way as well, Mr. Joel, I was wondering, with your worst game list, how expansive is it as far as your systems go? Are you going this one particular system, or are you actually going all the way out?
I'm going from, I think the The oldest game I have on my list is from the late 80s, and the newest game I have on my list is from the 2010s. So
All
pretty
right.
much my whole gaming life.
So, when we were talking about this, Joel was like, man, dude, like I only bought, AAA titles or games that were reviewed really good. And I'm just like, but dude, like you never like rented anything or you never like, borrowed a game from a friend. You were just like, this is garbage. And you're like, no, man, like it's all been like, top rated stuff. And I'm like, that's where our age gap is
So,
there, right?
yeah. So disclaimer: when I was growing up, SNES time, uh, we bought a lot of like the gold games. I don't know if you remember that, the Nintendo Gold games. They're a little cheaper, like when Mario
Oh
Kart
yeah,
went
yeah, yeah.
gold.
Yes, yes.
So I bought a lot of those, and then I bought like Donkey Kong and Mario Kart were gold,
Mhm.
and then I bought a few like licensed games like Spider-Man. So they're all good games, right?
Right, right, right.
And then the
I don't
PS1
know
came
about
out.
Spider-Man being a good game, but
It was a good game. It
No,
was a good game. It was like
it's
classic
not.
SNES. Yeah, you had to memorize the whole stage, or else you're screwed.
Wait, are we talking about what was it? Maximum Car? No, was it Maximum Carnage?
No, not Maximum Carnage. Not to beat 'em up. It was a
Oh
2D side scrolling. It was kind of bad, but it didn't make my list because
no,
I
but I think I know in which game you're talking about because there was that game, and then there was also a Spider-Man game for Genesis that was absolutely disgusting, and it was just like, ugh, I hated that game too. But anyway, I'm sorry. Continue.
But yeah, so I got the PS1, of course. I got F7 as my first game.
Mm-hmm.
I bought two really crap games. One may or may not be on my list. And then my parents let me subscribe to a gaming magazine. PSN, which was the unofficial PlayStation magazine.
Ah, yes, yes.
And
yes.
after that, I only bought a good game because it's a only once in a blue moon that my parents buy me a game. So
Right.
after that, man, only good games.
Only good games all overall, man. Only good game. But you didn't have any friends to like borrow games from, or like you guys never like traded games or anything like that. That was.
I mean, kind of, but like in that time we were kind of bouncing around. This is when my dad was in the military, so we were kind of bouncing
Oh, that's
around.
right. That's right.
And
that's
then
right.
when we moved back, I did have a bunch of cousins that we traded games with, but
Mm.
yeah, I traded good games. And if I did trade a bad game, it wasn't so memorable that I don't remember to add it to my list if it was a bad game.
I guess for me it was just like we had the gamut, right, and then on top of that I was a Blockbuster kid, so it was like we would. I mean, I remember I remember my dad would take us to Blockbuster, we'd rent games, and I think it wasn't because I mean obviously games were expensive as hell, right, and then on top of that like you're stuck with it, and so back then we didn't know like a Final Fantasy would last 40 hours or anything like that. It was just you just play the game.
Yeah.
So we would like borrow a lot of games for people, from people. We would also, do the Blockbuster thing, and then every once in a while we'd buy a game or two. But I mean, for the most part, it was mostly just trading back and forth. And so I just, again, it was that's where I found a lot of really good games, and I found a lot of crappy games. Let me tell you, man. So let's just jump into it, man. I think we should just go in. And so I'm actually pretty curious. I want you to start because I want to see your perspective because I really, obviously again, I'm a very retro gamer, right? Nintendo, Super Nintendo, all that stuff. I want to know where you're starting off, and in that way we can kind of get things going because I definitely
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So my list, I did have I think like two criteria pieces.
Yeah.
I did have to own the game. So I mean that is what it is. I know you borrowed a lot, but for me, I had to have owned the game. And for
Right.
two, I'm really taking a snapshot of when I first played the game.
Okay.
So all the emotion, disappointment, disgust, lack of hours I played, lack
Right.
of enthusiasm for the game. So everything how I felt at the time of gameplay. Maybe I played it later, and none of these games I did because they were so bad.
Right.
But yeah, at the time, Joel at the time, present time, how he liked the game or not. So
Sure.
my first game, talking about before how these junk licensed games, was a junky licensed game.
All right.
It is for the PS1. It's called The Lost World Jurassic Park.
Oh.
So fun fact about this game. This was right after we bought my PlayStation 1. I was
Right.
at the Navy Exchange
Right.
playing a demo of this very game.
Yes.
And it was awful. But I was like, you know what? I'm waiting for my parents. They're buying clothes or whatever, so I'll just play this demo.
Right.
My parents come, like, oh, you ready to go? Yeah, I'm going. First and only last time I played the game.
Okay.
2 months later for Christmas, lo and behold, Under the Tree. And I'm like, oh man, this game sucks. So if you guys don't know, there's like 4 different dinosaurs, one part with a human.
Right.
All the gameplay is bad. You you need cheats to get even past the first dinosaur, which you're like a little velociraptor.
Right.
But my parents bought it for Christmas, so of course I had to play the first like stage for a day while they walked by my room proud that they chose a good gift before I could switch it back to Final Fantasy 7 while they weren't looking.
Oh.
The cover was cool. It was a hologram, but that's probably the only redeeming part of that game. There's no story, which was kind of lame for a movie-based title.
Right.
There's no like at least intro to going into the park. It was just like, look, you're a little dicky dinosaur. Can't get past this first world. When I eventually got Riddell's favorite device, the Game Shark,
Yes.
I got past the first world, and the human was also crap. The T-Rex was crap. So overall, a crap game, a money grab. Movie was great, but game not so much.
I was about to ask you, like, did you actually watch the movie? Because
I did. The first Jurassic Park,
yeah,
I think scarred me from movies. I watched it at the base, so like maybe like 3 months after it came out, right? If you guys aren't aware, on military bases there's free movie theaters, but their movies are always like just about to leave theaters, so they're always a little older. So I watched it. I was probably like 7, and that Velociraptor scene when they're in the kitchen. I think I have. I don't know if you remember this, Riddell. The kids are hiding in the kitchen, and the raptors are like clicking through the room and looking around the corners. And oh man, I think I had like nightmares from that one scene.
Oh my god!
And then my parents put on VHS, and I remember like watching it, like hiding behind the couch watching it.
Oh my god.
And now that we talk about this, maybe this is why I hate this game so much. From my emotional scars from the movie, but the movies were great. I really like the movies. Watching them as an adult.
Fun fact: I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. Never watched them. Any of them.
They're good.
I know they're good. And one of my old coworkers, he loved Jurassic Park. Like he's all about it. I mean, I remember we would be inside the office and like he would play the soundtrack to the movie and be like, "Dude,
soundtrack was good."
Times, and I'm like, that's cool, man. But I don't know, man. I mean, I like dinosaurs as a child, but like I never was ever gravitated and be like, oh my god, I want to see Jurassic Park. It looks so good. Even new ones, I'm just like,
it was cool because for the older ones anyway, for the most part, they used animatronics instead of CGI.
Right.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
And then it was really a thriller movie, right? Because they, it wasn't like what you think, or like the humans are like fighting and everything. No, they were getting their ass whooped. They were running and hiding and getting hunted down. It's pretty dope.
They're effing dinosaurs, man. Of course, it's just gonna kill them. I mean, like you ever see those when animals attack like TV shows? you mean when animals act normally?
I just saw a random YouTube video of a lady jumping into a polar bear enclosure, got mauled, and it's like, why are you even doing?
Why are you even doing
it on purpose? But it's like, why are you doing that?
Oh my god!
There's a wild in front of wild animals for a reason. These aren't like, fluffy or good animals. These are wild animals.
No, these are wild animals, man. Like when animals act normally, like it boggles my mind sometimes when people are just like, oh, like it's okay. No, dude, like they're gonna maul me. Bears are gonna maul me in the forest. Like Yogi is just not getting your picnic. He's getting your ass, like for real.
Imagine like a walking, talking donut falls in your room. You're not gonna eat it. You're not gonna grab it and eat it. You're just gonna ignore it. No way. You're gonna say, "Sweet, a donut."
Donuts, yes.
Okay. All right, sorry, tangents.
Sorry, tangent. All right. So
number 1,
my number, yeah. So
number 5. Sorry, number 5.
Yeah, number 5. So number 5 for me. I know Joel will probably get mad at me. Well, not really mad, but Joel will get me on this. So I believe, if I remember right, I rented this game. Did I rent this game? No, I think I bought it. I think my parents bought it for me. So we bought this game, or I don't know how we got and handle it, but we got it in Hawaii, and like we thought it was so cool because obviously the franchise was just fantastic, but I mean the game itself was just garbage. And that was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the Nintendo.
Difficult does not mean garbage, Riddell, but
no, it is garbage. Okay, 4 lives and that's it, and you have to go through the entire game with different, with.
You can rescue a turtle in the third world, okay?
I never got there because it was too damn hard. It was so hard. Like, I don't understand how people were able to get through like the little bombs and trying to defuse them and all this other stuff. And once you get into the turtle van, it's just like it's game over at that point because you can't even get anywhere. You don't even have any type of strategy guide, which of course we didn't have strategy guides back then. We had to actually find people. And I'm not going to call 1-800-Nintendo to go figure out like, oh, hey, you need to go to this house. Like, no, it should be intuitive enough to be able to go there. And it should have more lives. The cover art was dope, though. I will admit that.
Oh, with the original red bandanas, man, that was nice. And to be fair, TMNT did not have codes like instead of save slots they use codes.
Yeah.
No progress codes, no save slots.
No.
It's
Kids
brutal.
we didn't have that. So we, what did we do? Just like what we did talk about in the previous episodes. We left the game on, we turned off the TV, go eat, go do whatever we needed to do, and then we're ready to come back and go get it on from there. Nintendo was hot as hell, I'll tell you that. But man, dude, that game, I had so many.
Excuse me. Let me ask you this, Verdell.
What's that?
So you said 4 turtles, right? And that's
4
all you
turtles.
get. What kind of gamer were you? If you were in the first world still and you lost 2 turtles, was it reset time or was it plow forward time?
Oh no, it was turn off the damn system time.
Right.
Turn off the damn. Forget it. Done. No.
If you don't have 3 turtles by the dam level, you just start all over.
Yeah, you're just terrible at the game. Which I was terrible at the game. I'm not gonna deny that. I'm just saying that it was just a bad game as a child. Now, granted, maybe as an adult it was a little bit better. I've seen some speed runs. And I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing. But for the most part, I'm like, no, dude. Like when I was playing that, I mean, it looked cool and it had the license, and I had all my turtles ready to go, and I'm like, oh my god, it's a video game for this. This is great. Play this game, like what the is this?
So, it doesn't get better, man. TMNT was one of the first games that I played on emulation when I discovered emulators.
Right.
And I was like, sweet, I can play TMNT again. And I didn't get past like the first platform stage.
Yep. I never even wanted to. At that point,
I picked Raph and his attack range is like 1 centimeter.
It's like this.
Twirling the sigh.
Yeah.
Awful
game. Okay. Here we go. Number 4, sir. What do you have?
Number 4 is a game you actually know not very well. It's a game for the last Sony launch title console. It's a game called Knack. So there's a few reasons why I hate this game. I'll go from like best to worst, I guess.
The best to worst of why you hate this game.
My least hate to the biggest hate. So the first part of the gameplay just sucked.
Yeah.
They try to, it's supposed to be the Astro of PS4, so they try to use a touchpad.
Yeah.
No, the touchpad was a terrible idea. It was almost as bad as 6-axis.
Oh yeah.
So, gameplay was terrible. Little to no story.
Right.
It was a launch title, so it's like this was like the only game you could get for a while on the PS4.
That and Madden, right?
But that was a rehash of the PS3 version. It wasn't even like a new game, right?
Oh yeah.
The only like, and the thing that to me was the most upsetting was that it was the PS4 launch title, and the graphics weren't even good. So I couldn't even show it off to a buddy like, hey dude, I got the PS4, let's check out this game. My show off game was Need for Speed. Because that's the launch title. It actually looked good,
right?
But Knack didn't play good. It didn't look good. There was no story,
right?
I don't think I logged more than 20 minutes of game time for $60.
Oof!
It was just a bad time all around. I think I got like $8 from it for GameStop like a year later.
It's even worse. You waited too long.
I did. I should have sold it immediately. But I don't know how Sony was like, let's put this on the box and have this be advertised.
Don't forget. They have a part 2, homie.
I heard part 2 was okay. Why
would you make a part 2 if number 1 was that crap?
Number 1, it probably sold well because it was the only game. It was like one of 3 games you could buy.
I'm telling you, dude, I didn't buy anything. Just played Resogun, and I just let the PS4 sit there for at least a month before something came out, and I can't even remember what game I bought after.
The PS4 didn't even have backwards compat, so you couldn't even play your old games. You were just
that's right.
Twiddling your thumbs, like, man, I got the PS4 balling.
just like how the PS5, I'm like, yeah, I got Miles Morales. All right.
Well, at least the PS5, you could play your old games, so
that's
you're
true.
You're not dead out of the water, right? But this Knack game, man, it
sour taste in your mouth.
it is in the top 5 of like the worst $60 I've ever spent.
Oof, man. Any other examples of worst $60 you ever spent?
Not on top of my head, some I wouldn't say on the pod, some I would. But no, Knack is definitely up there, man.
Oh my god, man! I'm telling you, dude. Like I said, that was not something very appealing. I'll tell you that. I remember watching the demo. I'm like, this does not look very appealing
I
to me.
got it because it was the only one. I was at Target,
I'm
like, 'cause I
telling you,
got the
dude.
PS4 from Amazon. I was like,
Yeah.
I'll go pick up some games. I have the day off anyway. Yes, I took the day off for my PS4 to arrive at my house. But when I went there, the only games were like Need for Speed, Madden, and Knack. So I'll take all three.
Oh my god.
And
You're
mistake,
that consumer, man.
mistake.
Oh my god. Oh man. All right. Well, I can't knock on you. I can't knack on you too much, but I can definitely, I can understand why. Unfortunate, but true. Um, I guess for my number 4, I'm trying to go as sequential as possible.
Okay.
As far as systems.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So this one was on Super Nintendo. It's actually one of the very few, I wouldn't say it was a launch title, but it was definitely close to launch. And I think this might now that I realize what we were talking about with TMNT in the first, I realize now that a lot of these games that I'm saying are just ridiculously hard, at least for me when I was growing up. This game was Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Okay.
So if you guys don't know what Super Ghouls and Ghosts are, it's Ghouls and Ghosts is a platforming side scroller. But the claim to fame to this game is that it's ridiculously hard, right? And you have to have plenty of patience and timing, and you have to remember the entire map in order for you to actually beat this game. And I couldn't, especially because I was Riddell at 12, or something like that. And I'm like, oh, it's cool. It's Ghouls and Ghosts, but like instead of Nintendo, it's on Super Nintendo. I play this. I'm like, died instantly, countless number of times. I couldn't beat the first stage until I think it was like maybe 20, 25, something like that. I mean, last time I played, I'm like, nope.
It's one of those games where literally you have to like inch through the level.
Yes.
Until you memorize the whole level.
Yeah.
And then get to level 2.
Imagine a 12-year-old.
Repeat.
Yeah, you can't. I'm telling you, man. Like, Riddell at like, before 10 playing TMNT, like this is hard as hell. Super Ghouls and Ghosts, dude, it was hard as hell in that game too. I was like, what the hell? I swear, man. I remember. So my brothers and I, if you guys don't know, we kind of have. If you get getting a little personal here, we actually have some temper tantrums, and I learned it from my brothers. And what we used to do is we used to throw the controller at the system when we get pissed, like throw it, like we would chuck that thing like hard.
And these were like when the controllers were boomerang shaped, so it's like the perfect shape.
Boomerang shapes with wires, right?
Right.
And like you can hear my parents, yelling like, "Hey, if you don't want to play anymore, stop playing." But then you just hear like this big bang, like bam, and you're just like so mad, and it's just like, and there's been countless times and mind you, this happened with Nintendo too. And remember, Nintendo controllers were square, right? So they had corners. I mean, it was dangerous, like really dangerous. So I mean, with the Super Nintendo, it was rounded, but still, we were just so pissed, man. We didn't pay for the games back then. Now I don't throw the controls anymore, thank goodness. But still, it's just I remember very clearly with Super Ghouls and Ghosts being like, man, this is such a crappy game. It's like, how in the hell does anybody beat this game? Like for real? Like how do they do it? I don't know. But
I never played that version, but I played the PS1 incarnation. I think it's called Maximo or Maximus or something.
Maximo like was on PS2.
PS2?
Yes.
So it was charming because when he was about to die, he was in his boxers. That was pretty funny.
Yes.
But the game was very, very difficult.
Yes.
And I did not get very far.
Nope.
And it was a waste of $50. I think at the time games were $50.
Were they $50 at the time?
I think so. I think PS3 was the jump to PS3 /
Xbox was 60. I think so.
Yeah.
I didn't even really notice it. But I mean, I gotta be honest with you, man. Like, on this tangent, if they make games $70, I'm not gonna really mind that much. I mean, yeah, it's more expensive, but yeah, it's expensive. I shouldn't say more expensive. It's expensive, but the developers do a lot of stuff, man. And like the games and prices in general haven't fluctuated in like 10 years.
That's the key. When SNES games were $50. I mean, so if they don't increase until like 2 gens later, I can't really complain either.
Right, exactly. I mean, like, you got some people, no, guys, I need to pay my $60. This is ridiculous. Like, no, man, dude, you know how many people like worked on this game?
My favorite argument, Riddell, and sorry, another tangent. So I was born and bred. Everyone who listens to this pod knows I'm a born and bred PC gamer.
Right.
I'm about to bash on the PC community here.
Uh-oh.
I've heard the argument. So I don't know why, but PC gamers always get sensitive when people say, "Oh, PC gaming is too expensive to get into."
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it's not. You just don't know how to upgrade, or consoles that X expensive. I've heard the argument. A gaming PC is worth it because the games are cheaper, and they are like $10 cheaper here and there.
Yeah,
but like, are you really gonna make up an $800 difference based off paying $10 here and there on games?
Yep.
It's like, no, like, I can build a gaming PC for $600. No, you cannot. Not one that at least goes 1440p.
Right.
So and it's weird because like I always thought as PC gaming is kind of showing off. Like, yeah, I can afford a baller setup.
Right.
So why be so offended when people say I don't want to get into it because it's so expensive? One side of the mouth, the other, whatever that saying is. Tangent. But yes, so
yeah. No, I hear you, man. I guess I'm telling you, dude. It's just with that mantra, it's so weird because, like I said, I'm not a PC gamer by heart. In fact, like I said, I just built my first real gaming PC 2 years ago, and like it's cool, and I do get my games cheaper, but the reality of it is I'm a console gamer at heart, man. And like, you know what? I'll buy the $60 game, I'll buy the $70 game because they're worth it. I mean, well, for all intents and purposes, for the games that I buy, they're worth it. Not like the worst games, that we're talking about now, but
it's
still,
it's fun. And I always scoffed when people said this. Well, with console gaming, it just works. But there is some truth to that. So I recently bought Red Dead for PC just because it was on sale.
Yeah.
And then you have to install a separate launcher because they don't like Steam. They don't like, it's Rockstar's launcher. And it was erroring on me, so I had to Google the error. Wow. I have to install this new DLL, so I installed it and work. But I was like, why did I have to do that? Like, spend the 10 minutes it took me to Google this thing and install like a weird Windows patch, and it worked.
That's so weird.
I should just be able to buy it and play it.
That's true. By the way, real quick, does Red Dead Redemption look awesome on 1440?
I haven't started it.
Oh no!
Downloaded it. It was like 100 gigs.
Oh yeah, dude! I swear, man. Like, dude, my hard drive's getting all jacked up, just like on PS5. All right, number 3, sir. What do you have now? Okay, so I knew Lost World was gonna make it. I knew Knack was gonna make it. Now I'm getting to the good.
Those are the real junk games.
Yeah, right? I did get the real junk game. I want to know what you think. What worst game, Joel?
Number 3. Remember, my second condition was the time that I played the game, not future or past, or when I played the game, how did I feel?
Right.
So number 3 is the PS4 rendition of Shadow of the Colossus. This game, so PS4 version. People who played it on PS2, okay, different era.
Yeah,
what was it? 10 years maybe plus difference.
Right.
But if I played this game for the first time on PS4,
that's right.
It's $30 or whatever is cheaper.
Yep.
But okay. The story, garbage. I don't care if you're being vague or it's like thoughtful. No, it's not thoughtful. It's just lazy. There's no story, there's no characters. The twist, you see like three monsters in.
Right.
So I think I finished like 10 or so of the bosses. I think there's 12. I'm guessing. Yeah, I don't remember.
I totally forgot. Yeah.
But the twist is so obvious. Like three bosses, and you're like, oh, I'm the bad guy. I get it. I'm killing these things.
No, spoiler alert.
Sorry. Yeah. So I'm killing these things who are just handling nature, who aren't doing anything, and I'm killing them. The story doesn't make, it's just lazy.
Right.
And then I hear this other thing. Well, the open world is so beautiful. Okay, but there's nothing in it.
It's very, very bland.
Absolutely nothing in it. There's no enemies. There's no NPCs.
Yep.
There's no reason for exploration because it's just, next boss is this way. Well, I guess I'll go that way.
That's what the sword says. I'm gonna go.
There's no reason for me to go over that vista over there. There's no collectibles to find. There's no people to talk to. There's no enemies to fight.
Yep.
It's a big empty open world.
Yeah.
And then I know people think, the bosses are puzzles and it's super fun. Okay, but the gameplay is, and it could be the era, but it's very dated.
Very dated.
The controls are super unresponsive.
Yep.
Like when I hit X to jump, I want to jump. I don't want to have a delay to jump. I don't want to, jump the wrong way.
Right.
When I hit square, I want to attack. I don't want to maybe attack or maybe not. The climbing is,
Yep.
and so I played this game after Breath of the Wild, I believe.
Yeah,
So
you did.
climbing is ruined for any other game, right? But like,
Oh yeah.
for all the hype that this game got, like people legitimately say this is the best game of the PS2 era. I've heard that argument.
Yes, I've heard
This
that
is the
argument
best
too.
game of the PS2 era.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, it wouldn't even make like my top 30 when I try to think about it.
I'm thinking though, but do you think though that it would have been different if you played it on PS2 first?
Probably. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe, but the story thing wouldn't change. The open
Right.
world wouldn't change.
Yeah, that's true.
The gameplay to me wouldn't change. To me, there are more responsive games. Kingdom Hearts 2 is more responsive than Shadow of Colossus, and they're both PS2 games.
This is true. This is very true.
I'm sorry, all you Shadow of Colossus fans. I was not a fan. It was a bad game. At least I only spent $30.
So I will say,
I didn't beat it, by the way. So
I know you didn't. So a coworker of ours was very, very adamant about this game. Shout out to Mark.
And that's the only way. That's the only reason I went to like the 10th boss, because he was so fond of it.
He kept harping on us the entire time, like, dude, you just gotta play it, man. You just gotta beat it. And he actually let me borrow it. And I will say everything that you said is absolutely true. However, I will say that I actually enjoyed the game. The story, the horse, forget that horse. I'll tell you that right now. That horse needed to go. He needed to be made into glue. I don't care what you say.
I walked a lot because the horse wouldn't go on like the right cliff or whatever. Like, all right, I'm walking.
I'm walking. Forget it. Because dude, the horses never did what the hell I wanted to do. Just like how you said with the controls. I will say though that what you described to me is kind of what makes sense to me why you'd never like Monster Hunter.
Because the controls
were really flimsy.
So maybe flimsy isn't right. If you are a fighting game pro,
yes,
and some fighting games are twitchy,
yes,
and some are more strategic,
yes.
Maybe I'm just not a strategic player. Maybe. Very possible.
Very possible. Very possible. Okay, I'll give you that. Like I said, but I totally forgot about that one too. All right. So number 3 for me, and I'm not sure if you've ever played this one. You may have played this game on PS1 due to our Philippine friends that would give us tons of games for free by any means necessary, right? And this game, the reason why I enjoyed it as a child or enjoyed it when I was younger, just because I'm a huge fan of peripherals, right? I love gaming peripherals like guns, joysticks, I don't know, dance pads, DJ turntable, anything peripheral wise, I'm like all for it. This game, however, and it had everything going for it as far as the license and what it was, and you were like, man, this could have been so great. And then when you played, this game is so horrible. The game I'm talking about is Resident Evil Gun Survivor. Have you heard of this game?
That's the one where you're on rails.
You're not necessarily on rails, but you have the gun con, but you control them through the buttons and stuff, and you can walk around and you shoot and stuff, and you get unlimited ammo. But man, dude, like between the voice acting and the way the game played and the graphics were just absolute horribly garbage. And I love Resident Evil. Like I love the Resident Evil games, not the new ones, but the older ones I loved. And this game was just like I had high hopes for it because I'm like, oh man, dude, you got your gun, you get to walk around, and then you get to shoot things. And I'm just like, dude, this game is absolute garbage. And I wanted to love it. I really wanted to love it. But man, I remember playing this and I was like, thank goodness I got this in the Philippines, man, for like $1. Because dude, if I would have played $50 for this game, I would have been pissed, super pissed. And like I said, I don't think you've ever played it. No one's really played it. At least I don't think. I think there's a YouTube video of some guy that just had like a really large rant about how horrible this game was. Watch that video if you guys can. Google it, YouTube it, whatever. But man, it was a really bad game. It was just terrible, absolute garbage. So that was my number 3.
Can you hear that fan?
I cannot.
Okay. Sorry, unpause. I forgot to close my bathroom door and the humidity fan went off.
It's not a big deal. I can't hear.
Okay. Unpause.
So yeah, it's
it's funny because that to me, I never played it. Right, I only saw like in magazines. And I think it was poorly received.
Yeah,
but to me, it sounded like House of Dead. Right, I don't have to put coins in. Like it sounded like a good idea, right?
Yeah, but I mean, House of the Dead was cheesy on purpose. Like it was like
Right.
that game was. I mean, like I said, it's cheesy on purpose. Love that game, especially on Dreamcast. With the Zapper or the Zinger, whatever the hell they called it. Really good Rails game, but this one is just like it had everything going for it except the fact that it just got poorly executed across the board. And it's like, I love you, Capcom, but man, this one, I can't. I know they can do no wrong, but this one's pretty damn close to being wrong. Oh, it's very close, very close.
If you paid money for it, it would have been wrong.
Oh, dude, if I would have paid money for it, man, game over, bro. I would have been like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. So yeah, that was my number 3.
Fun fact: I actually played a backup copy of Time Crisis on the PlayStation 1 without the accessory. With the controller.
Yep.
And I probably did beat a few stages, like even using the D-pad.
I did that too. It's funny. My cousin, he's his elder cousin. He's a priest. It's funny. He's actually a priest that smokes cigarettes. Who would have thought? And so like we used to when we're growing up, all of our video game stuff and our playroom was in the garage. I know it sounds weird, but it's like my mom and dad didn't want to have any of the play stuff inside the living room and stuff because we have the front room that nobody uses and the furniture that's super duper hard that nobody uses.
Is the plastic still over it too?
No. It's just it's just like wooden furniture that nobody sits on, like because there's it's all for show. And then and so we had this this system, and so like my cousin would come and he would take the gun con and a cigarette and play Time Crisis the entire time. And I'm like, wow, man. He's really, I mean, cigarette in his mouth, gun con like this, and going from there. But yeah, great. It was a great game even with the controller. It was really good.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah. Excuse me. So, number 2, we're getting closer, sir.
All right, number 2.
I'm getting excited now.
So I think you definitely played this one. So again, mindset is Joel when you played this game for the first time.
Yes.
Number 2, Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. So, backstory.
Yes.
Zelda 1 was, I would say, my favorite game on the NES. I had to think about it, but right in front of Super Mario Brothers 3. I drew maps. I played with my cousins.
Yep.
I would invite them over and they'd play a new game, and I'd be like, no, go to the right first, then go up, then go. Cause I memorized the maps.
Right.
I love this game. I broke my rule here. I didn't own Zelda 2, but I kind of did because we still kept the cartridge. But I borrowed it from a cousin.
Yep.
I was so stoked. I was like, oh, finally, we've played Zelda 1 so much. Get to play a new version of it. Started up the game, and what did I
looked
find?
Good in the beginning with the blue, and it was like
it looked
Twilight.
good. And I was like, oh, okay, it's kind of like Dragon Quest, because our Dragon Warrior, which we had on the NES as well. I went to the first stage, and it was 2D. Okay, 2D, and the gameplay is weird, and leveling up. I was a kid. I don't know what this means.
Exactly.
I got to a town. I'm supposed to talk to people. I don't. Which ones do I talk to?
Right.
And by the way, I sucked at Dragon Warrior. That was all my dad's game. I didn't know how to play it.
Wow.
I was maybe 6 at the time, 5 or 6.
I swear, man, time out real quick, dude. Shout outs to your parents, man, because I swear, dude, my dad was, like I said, we've talked about this in previous episodes. My dad played Zelda and he would use our names, as a saved and stuff like that. But shout outs to your dad for playing Dragon Warrior. How cool is that?
Dude, my dad, he's trying to do Ghost of Tsushima Legends on solo. And I'm like, Dad, just tell me, we'll play together. So right now, Ghost of Tsushima is his jam. He beat it on easy, normal, and hard.
Dang.
And now he's trying to do the Legends, but by himself.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm like, Dad, just call me and we'll do it together. But we haven't set it up yet. So he's totally a gamer.
That's so awesome.
Which is pretty cool.
God, man. I mean, I can't tell my dad, hey, Dad, I'll meet you in that free sale game later. Is that cool?
No, second pile, solitaire. No, not
that one. Oh, you just messed up, dude. Damn. Anyway, I'm sorry. Zelda 2.
No, that's fine. So yeah, town, didn't know what it was for.
Right.
Back on the roadmap, where do I go? I don't know. I'll search for a place. A place that's way over leveled. I died. And it's like, so I've heard this game is good. I haven't played it since I was a kid,
Right.
but I was a kid and I
Yeah.
was expecting Zelda.
Yeah.
And I got kind of RPG, kind of side scroller, but not
Mm-hmm.
fun, not kind of fun, not little fun, not at all.
No.
And I maybe I kept the cartridge out of spite. I never gave it back. We still have it. I never played it again. And I haven't played it since. I never played on emulator. I never booted it up.
No.
That was it. And then I got my SNES, and that was it.
That was it, right? In the real part 2, which was Link to the Past.
Yeah.
And
then they were like, "Oh shoot, let's go back and
let's go back and figure this out." It wasn't like, I was always thinking that Zelda 2 was kind of like Mario 2, right? Where they took Doki Doki Panic and just skinned it as Mario,
right? Because they wanted to make some money, right?
They wanted to make money out of it or whatever, or they didn't, they didn't want to put the lost levels in there. By the way, guys, if you guys haven't watched the what's the Netflix documentary on there? Gamer, or I don't remember, but
Gamer or Coin or
Insert Coin. I think it's Insert Coin. If you guys haven't watched that, watch that, because it's really cool to see all the Nintendo history behind, like, part 2, part 1, and lost levels and all that stuff. There's a lot of different stories behind it, but I definitely ran into that as well. I think we talked about this story last, I think a couple podcasts ago, where I was saying that I just moved from Hawaii to San Diego, and like my cousins had Zelda 2, and I was all stoked, and they played it already. I'm like, all right, great. And I played, I'm like, what is this garbage?
Yeah, what is this?
What is this thing? And he has like this pose where he's like,
and if I remember correctly, there's like random battles.
Yeah. There's random battles.
There's stages, right? But like 2D side-scrolling stages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was like, this isn't Zelda.
Yeah, this isn't Zelda, man. Like, where's the octopods that are just shooting rocks at you and all this other stuff? Oh man. Yeah, I hear you on that. All right. Number 2 for me, we've mentioned this on the show before, so it's gonna be no surprise here, because this was probably one of the most disappointing games I've ever played, because I was just pissed at the fact that they ruined the franchise. Well, they ruined the franchise way before, but this game is Kingdom Hearts 3. Yep, Kingdom Hearts 3, folks. I will tell you this right now, it was pretty much one of the most biggest pieces of garbage in previous gen history. As far as ruining the story, voice acting was absolute garbage. Gameplay was fairly decent, but I think at that point, it kind of, what ended up happening, I think, was the game was delayed so much that the game never evolved to the standards of what's out now.
It was too dated. The gameplay was too dated.
The gameplay was way too dated, and and like I said, I wanted to see Toy Story. I wanted to see all these cool worlds, and like, they weren't really as fascinating as I thought it was going to be. And I think I stopped playing at the Pirates of the Caribbean, and to be honest with you, man, I'm not a big fan of the Pirates series. This is me.
I think it's highly overrated.
The Pirate series, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, besides Keira Knightley, there's not really much redeeming for me, honestly.
I mean, with Legolas and Edward Scissorhands. Yay.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
People swear that Johnny Depp is a great actor. Isn't he like, what do they call it, a typecast actor? He's the same character in every movie. Is he not? Quirky, weird,
awkward,
semi-charismatic guy.
Yeah, but he kind of falls in the same line as, like, I think, like RDJ, right? Robert Downey Jr. He kind of is, and he's kind of like,
he has to be that like arrogant little smart ass. But I mean, that's a typecast actor,
right?
I mean, they're good at one role. Like one guy who I always thought was this, but turned out not to be, was Jim Carrey, because he was great in Eternal Sunshine as not a comedy guy. But everyone says Johnny Depp is one of the best, but he's a typecast. Definitely.
He's typecast, man. I mean, I don't really hold him in high regard.
Really?
And I don't. I mean, like, he's cool. I mean, I think he was great in certain movies, but like in Blow, he was great. But I just don't think that, I mean, he doesn't really do it. Like, he isn't like, oh man, like, I think, it's kind of funny. I would say like George Clooney maybe would be somebody that would hold in higher regard, in a sense.
George Clooney can do different things,
different roles. Yeah. I think the one role that I really enjoyed him in, even though he was, probably one of my favorites in Ocean's 11, was the one where he was the guy that was telling people that they're going to be fired. God, I don't remember what the movie was called. But basically he was just a big asshole that was trying to get all these airline points because he wanted to be a Million Mile Club, and he was just telling people that they were being fired. He had like no soul, but it was a good movie. Anyway, so yeah, back to Kingdom Hearts, dude. I'm telling you, man. Like I know that I told you how terrible this game is, and I cannot stress enough about how much I hate this effing game. Like I just because I spent the money on it, like you, I ended up going midnight launch on it, and I was so excited for it. I was gonna be like, oh, cool. There's a new Utada Hikaru song on it, and it wasn't really that great because there was stupid Skrillex on there or whoever some garbage musician was. But oh man, I can't say enough terrible, terrible things about that damn game, and I just want to throw it out the window. And I don't even think I sold it. And I remember, I think I mentioned this in the last two. I sold my PS4. The guy that bought it for me said, "Hey, I'm gonna," I was like, "Oh, what game are you gonna play?" He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna catch up on Kingdom Hearts 3," and I didn't have the heart to tell him, like, "Man, you are in for a world of hurt, world of hurt." So
let me ask you the same question you asked me about Shadow of the Colossus. If Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, let's even say it was one of the first few titles on PS3, do you think it would have been better because it wouldn't be as dated?
I think it would have been a lot better had it came out earlier, because again, the gameplay would have kind of carried on from the PS2 era and the Game Boy games and stuff, or the Game Boy or the handheld games. But I think at this point, it's just, again, I think the one thing that really bothered me about this stupid game was the fact that the voice acting was so it was very, very cut up, right? It's like me saying, "Hey Joel, hey Jan, hey Panda." It's like it wasn't flowy, and it just sounded absolutely terrible. I'm like, ugh, it just bothered the hell out of me. Like that's one thing that really just gets me. Like if I watch anime or anything like that, it has to flow right, like, and you just have these pauses. You're like, ugh.
And that's super surprising from like that. I guess not Square, because Square just released a really terrible Avengers game. But that Disney would let something that they're affiliated with go out like that, right? So that's kind of surprising to me.
I know, man. It's insane. It's crazy. So that was my number 2. I now is a fun part here. Honorable mentions. Do you have any?
I have 2, and so these aren't awful, but I got them and I had high hopes because I thought they would they're okay reviewed, but I thought they'd be better. 2 Final Fantasy related games, Dirge of Cerberus and Air Gaze.
Oh, Air Gaze.
Dirge of Cerberus was a very, very mediocre third-person shooting game. It was mediocre, maybe be too kind.
Right.
But it had my favorite game in next-gen graphics, and it had some voice acting. So I was like,
that's how they get you, man. That's how they get you.
I actually bought this game on installments at GameStop. Fun fact.
Wow.
But Air Gaze was a very, very below average fighting game. It was a terrible RPG game, like one of the worst I've ever played. You had to actually eat. There was like a hunger meter.
Right.
Then I don't remember the third game. It was 3 games in one. It was that forgettable. But I got to play Cloud and Tifa and Sephiroth in the fighting game. That's
true. Cool. Yeah. And I remember there was a Japanese wrestler reference and a bunch of other stuff. Oh yeah, I remember that game very well. They actually have all these like old school fighters on the PS1 era had joystick releases, and that was one of them. That's actually one of the highly sought after ones because it actually came with a yo-yo. Yeah, so that was kind of cool. Terrible game. But I did end up buying it in the Philippines for 5 pesos. So thanks Philippines. So all right, cool. So I have a lot. So I was gonna put on there Street Fighter 2010. I don't even know if you even knew what that was. That totally tricked me because I thought it was a Street Fighter game for Nintendo, which it wasn't. You had I don't know if you remember. So remember I was telling you about how I love peripherals. And so one of the peripherals I enjoyed was the headset for the PS2. And there was a game called Lifeline. Do you remember this game? So Lifeline was a game where you're telling a girl to walk around, and like you actually have to talk into the mic and say walk to the left, and it should walk.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, it was terrible, absolutely horrible. And I bought that game, like I bought it straight up, and I was like, oh, why?
The headset was for SOCOM. Was that what that?
Yeah, the headset was for SOCOM. But then I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like the premise was kind of cool. Like you're in a space station trying to tell somebody, but it's kind of voyeuristic. It's kind of creepy. Let's see what else. In the same vein, there was a game called Seaman for Dreamcast. That was another terrible game that I bought.
Interesting title name. Okay.
Yes, indeed. Like I said, this is definitely beyond. Um, B Wings. I don't know if you remember a game called B Wings on Nintendo. That was also another garbage shooter that you had different wings you can choose from, but then it was like a one hit kill, super duper hard, couldn't beat it. Another game I was thinking about putting on here was Sim City. I was never a fan.
Really?
Yeah, I anything RTS. If you guys don't know, maybe I didn't mention this in the podcast before. Anything RTS or Sim City, all that stuff, garbage, absolute garbage. I do not
SimCity is
understand.
actually a super fun game.
How is it super fun?
Turn
To
off
build,
disasters, and then because those are kind of like those kind of make me pissed.
I don't know, man. I mean,
It's fun. Like
ActRaiser was good because it had SimCity like elements, like in the beginning when you're building your village. But then after that, like I get to fight people. SimCity, I'm just gonna build my building.
no, you gotta manage your economy. You gotta make sure your plumbing and your electricity and your roads are good.
You mean
SimCity,
adulting?
I challenge that. SimCity is a fun game, and I heard City of Skylines is really good. The kind of the newest kind of version of that game.
Says you.
I have it on Steam. Never played it, but supposedly it's really good. I bought it on a Steam sale.
Yeah.
Years ago.
So Weapon Lord was another one. See, I have a ton of them, man. So Weapon Lord was a fighting game made by Namco that was supposed to be really good, but I rented it and it was absolute garbage. Graphically it looked great, but then it was like on the hype of the Street Fighter train. Didn't work out. And lastly was if you remember a game, I believe it was on PS1, it was one of the first ones, Kiliak or Kilik. It was a first-person shooter. It was absolute garbage.
Any first-person shooter before the second joystick was designed is rough.
Yes, it's rough indeed.
I know 007 and Perfect Dark are cult classics, and they were good.
Yeah.
But face buttons cannot substitute for the second
precision.
joystick.
No, cannot do the precision. So. All right. So with the honorable mentions, my honorable mentions, which is a huge list out of the way.
I can just feel this list of like money that Riddell spent. He's like throwing right in the trash.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like here. Oh man. But then again, remember, I did rent a lot of these, so it was okay. Or I did borrow them from a lot of folks, so it wasn't too bad. But and then again, Philippine economy, 5 pesos. Yeah.
There you go.
Number one, sir. What do you have on the worst game that you've ever played? The best of everything, the worst game. Let me know.
So this game, it was some people call it one of the best games of the PS1 era.
Okay.
I got it at full price. Convinced my parents to buy it for me after I got a 5 out of 5 in the magazine that I subscribed to. It is a game called Driver. So it is supposedly, I'm saying supposedly because I didn't get here.
Right.
A game about your driver do different jobs, bank robberies, getaways, hits, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds great. And the gameplay is supposed to be really good. The driving mechanics are supposed to be really great. Thumbs up here.
Yeah.
5 out of 5 across the board. Graphics are good. One of the best games for PS1. Hey, 4 or 5 thumbs up.
Right.
Convince my parents to buy it. Take it home. Turn it on. If you don't know, there is a garage training level as the first level.
Yep.
There's about 10 items they want you to do in about a minute. And they let you play. And these items are like burnout, 360, 720, kickflip. Right. I don't know, all these different things you have to do in a minute. And they don't tell you what they are. I was a kid. I don't know what the hell burnout is. I'm a little kid.
Right.
There's no in Mario Kart, there's like the ghost car that kind of shows you like your last time trial.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
No ghost car, no demo, none of that. Just do these 10 things in a minute, and then you're out of training.
Right.
Never could do it.
Wow.
I was on that level for weeks because it was a great game. I had been told it was a great game, so I was like, okay, I'll try it. Never got it. I did beat it like 5 years ago or 5 years later on the PS2.
Oh, okay.
And when I found out that you can do multiple things in one, like you can do like the 180, 360, burnout, and break all in one go, like in one move.
Right.
And then when I finally got to play the game, it was decent because it was fun. Some of the times were really short, so it was really hard.
Right.
But the frustration I felt as a kid, this brand new $50 game that convinced my parents to buy, that is like one of the best games of all time for the PS1.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get past the damn training level. Worst, I think, how old would I have been? Like probably like 11-year-old Joel was very, very upset.
Oh my God. That's so
Driver,
funny.
and I heard Driver 2 was decent, but I'm
My
no thank you.
my brother, I believe it was my brother that told me that he really enjoyed that game for whatever reason. I never got to play it. I never
I'm
really
sure it's
was.
fun if you get past the
Well,
if you get
again,
past
he
the
was
crazy
older.
level.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
you were what 12-year-old Joel trying to figure
yeah.
out
Like
like
what the hell's a what's a burnout?
yeah, what is this thing?
Like 180, heel flip. What are these things I'm trying to do?
Well, then
And like
wait, you weren't playing Tony Hawk at the time? Tony Hawk came out at the time?
no, I'm kidding about the heel flip thing. But
I'm
I
about
love
to
Tony Hawk. One of my favorite games on PS1. But the manual didn't have like how to do the things, and there
right.
was no demo on the when you played it. So it's just like,
Did you have your Game Shark available?
nah. Well, even if we did, I doubt it would extend the time. I don't
Yeah.
remember. But
Ugh,
I beat it later on when I
right.
played it on PS2 backwards
Right.
compat for the win.
Wow.
But remember, at the time, I was
Yes.
devastated.
Yes. Well, I have that same type of devastation. So great number one pick. I played a very little time of it. I know my brother played a lot of it. That was like kind of his jam, I think in Guam or something like that, if I remember right. So my number one pick is a lot of memories of failure and sadness because if you guys already know, I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan. And so I don't think there's ever been a Dragon Ball game, even up until this day. To this day, guys, and just it's 2020, people. Okay, 2020. There has not been a Dragon Ball game that has met the standard of any Dragon Ball fan. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, I think Fighters is really close. I mean, because it's a fighting game, which is great for me. But this game on PS1 really disappointed me. And again, this was another one of those 5 peso specials from the Philippines. Thankfully, but you can't even find it in the States. In fact, it's one of the harder games to find on PS1 if you're trying to look for it on a collection. And it's Dragon Ball GT for PS1. I don't know if you've ever played it before, Joel, if you had like friends that had it or anything like that, but this was probably so you think, okay, it's a Dragon Ball game, it's a fighting game, it's 3D, it's part of the new arc, the new Dragon Ball arc that, back then GT was like, ooh, it's so cool, but you realize later on, like Akira Toriyama wasn't a part of it, like the main
yeah, it was like, oh, you can only watch it in subs. Oh, it's special.
Yeah, it was so special. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be so cool. Holy crap, how terrible this game is. And remember, I played this on Philippine special, but it was the English version, and the English voices were absolute garbage. This was before this was actually syndicated in the States. So I mean, I will admit the Dragon Ball voices, I mean, I got used to them in the States, like as far as listening to them. So, okay, I get it, but this game just had there was so
I'm gonna look it up real quick. Cause I did play a Burn Dragon Ball game. That was a fighting game. And it was terrible. I want to see if it was the same one.
I'm sure it was because this one's pretty bad. I mean, there's other Dragon Ball games that were animated.
I remember the cover, the Goku.
Yep, that's exactly what was the cover. Yep.
Well, so I got it as a Burn game, so I guess I wasn't too upset.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was like a Dragon Ball game and I could play it, I was so hyped. And I was like, this fighting game fucking sucks.
It's so terrible. Oh my god, it was so bad. Like, I don't understand how they can mess this up. And so again, this goes on to so many different Dragon Ball games that they had so much potential, but damn, dude, like you guys can't make a simple fighting game. It's ridiculous. I don't understand it. Like, I really don't. And so I remember playing this with such high hopes. And I remember me and my brother were trying to play this game and we just could not get into it. And it's like, this is absolute garbage. Like, there's so many hit collision. It's just a really bad game. Like, whoever QA'd this game needs to get shot. Like, please believe that. Like, it was that bad. Oh my God. But yeah, so that was my number one, Dragon Ball GT or Final. I think it's called Dragon Ball GT Final Ball, but it doesn't even get that because I don't really care. It was such a terrible game. So that's it, guys. That's our top 5 worst games of all time. What do you guys think? Leave some comments down below. Check the link in the description for all of the social media links and all that stuff so you can get more entries to win this lovely Pandora's box that is Street Fighter 5. Branded here, which is kind of nice. So yeah, like I said, we will be announcing the winner at the end of this month. You will have at least, you'll have at least 3 more chances to be able to put more comments down below as far as what kind of games you thought were terrible. if you guys think that our list was pretty bad, let us know. I want to know what you guys think. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Again, I do appreciate all the love and all the, you know, listens and all that good stuff. So if you guys have any type of topics or anything that you guys want to talk about, let us know. Topics at whatyour5.com. Follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, and on TikTok at what's your underscore 5. Joel, thank you very much for your time, and I will talk to you later. Thanks a lot, guys. What's your 5 is out.
See you guys.
See ya.